We're streaming. We're live. A couple things we want to go through. Okay, or this, and then this. Okay. So I'm gonna start it off, and then I'm gonna hand it off to Cough. But basically, I need you guys to make sure that you are uploading your stuff, getting all of that stuff into the wish list for all your specs that you are going to roll loot for. And then also making sure this needs to go all green, except for Patty. Patty heals you. I put him on there as possible bench, but that's it. Let me see. Running latest finished script. Athena says that you are missing an enchant for your ring number 2. Check your item level. Make sure that it is a 610 enchant because that's also happened before. And make sure it's a rank 3. Carnal, you are, according to this, you're missing wrists. Sips is missing legs. Me, is that me? No, I'm not missing wrists. You can check yourself. Oh, it's probably because it's on my disc spec. So check and make sure that these things are getting, going green here. Make sure that you guys are getting all your gems. Right now it says Gad is not really, he's bench. Patty's bench.
Is the epic
Ryu's
gem
bench.
there like a culminating blasphemite
Yeah.
gem?
Yeah, those kinds of meds. Yep. Not, I wouldn't say that that's necessary. Because for some people it just doesn't make sense to have that one.
Interesting.
But yeah, this one is necessary. But that's Patty's secondary alt, so I'm not even gonna worry about that one. Just make sure you guys get all your stuff done there, and then great vaults. The myth tier dungeons need to be done as much as possible to get those 3 slots. Okay, to give you the best chance at a myth upgrade, because guess what? We need myth gear to kill myth bosses. That's fantastic. Other than that, yeah, looking good. I mean, everything from last week still applies. So basically, guys, I need you to at leaders in your Mythic Raid team chat channel. If you're going to be late, it needs to be at least an hour prior to raid kickoff. Okay. If not, you guys are going to get strikes, and you don't want that. I'm going on a 3-strike system and all that good stuff that I talked about last time. I'm going to hand it off to Koff. Do you want me to, since I'm recording, do you want me to keep presenting? Where do you want me to go?
I don't have anything really
to present. Okay.
It's really just some talking points about
Okay.
the raid environment and kind of how we're shifting a little bit. So obviously, last week we had a shift that people were obviously not aware of with people coming in into the raid last minute and kind of the raid lead change in the environment of the Rick kill, right? There was a couple things in that, right? I mean, I think we had a better comp just looking at the ad damage for that. We had a good comp for that, and we had I think everyone was just paying attention, and that kind of leads into what the next point and the main point is kind of the raid environment, right? So obviously with that, the big thing being that I think we were in there for 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and we got seven polls or 8 polls or 10 polls or whatever it was. We got more polls in a shorter amount of time than we normally do. And I think that goes into kind of the raid prep and the kind of the attitude we have when we go into raid, right? So obviously today we're going to go into Sprocket. And so that, everyone needs to be ready to go 8 o'clock, right? I'd like to be pulling boss at 8 o'clock, but I mean, obviously if we're starting trash at 8 o'clock, that's fine. Um, obviously we have some people that are, a couple minutes late when we know about that. So pulling trash at 8 o'clock right now is fine. Would like to get to a point where we're pulling boss at 8, but that's a goal that we'll work on in the future. But as far as raid prep goes, right, we're not going to be spending time explaining bosses during the, when we're pulling, right? If you have questions during trash, while we're getting there, that's the time. But when we're at the boss, like we should all know what we're doing. We should all know what's going on. We should really just, have be an execution thing, right? Now, obviously, if there's a, small question here or there between while we're rezzing, sure. But when when we're wiping quickly. Like for Sprocket, we're all just gonna be jumping off the edge when the wipe is called. Uh, During the, the res, you can ask some questions, but as soon as everyone's up, we're drinking, we're rebuffing. That's a big one. I don't want to ask multiple times for rebuffing. I want to be able just to ready check and pull. I want to get as many attempts at this as possible. You know, it's we're now in the harder bosses of the Mythic raid. Sprocket and Sticks, they require a lot of pulls on average. The reason we're going Sprocket first is just because I think the team comp that we have, we're missing a little bit to get the Sticks kill. Some boomkins would be nice for those ad damages. Rick was a pretty ad damage intensive fight, and I think Sticks is kind of similar to that with a little bit more intricate mechanics. So I think Sprocket will be a better shot for our team comp at this point. That being said, Sprocket, if you go look up the average pulls on Sprocket kills, I think there's been like 2,800 kills on Sprocket, first time kills. And I think the average pulls for all of that is like 90. So it's a complex fight. So we need to be locked in. It's gonna be a learning curve. It's a dance, that we have to get down, especially with the auras and whatnot, and the polarities, I should say. That being said, since it is a unique fight, everyone needs to have the liquid weak aura pack installed, configured, whatever you need to do to make sure that you know when you're popping bombs. It's not like heroic where we can just assign and call out. It's with the polarities, it's pretty hard, or well, I'd say almost impossible for us, to call that out and manage that. So the weak aura will tell you when you're popping. It prioritizes polarity. It prioritizes who's popped it before, and there's a list or there's an order on it. I can send that list out or post that list out and how it works in the chat. But you need to make sure you have the 3 weak auras, the 3 weak aura packs installed. If you don't know what those are, now would be a good time to ask. I don't want to be spending raid time doing it. That's why we kind of had after the Rick kill, we went to Sprocket to look at the weak auras and kind of what we needed to make sure that they were up and running. There might need to be some changes to the list because I built the list based on what I think makes sense based on the MRT note from Liquid and our team comp. That being said, as we run through some iterations of this, we might have some review of that list in terms of priority and who's popping. I would like, maybe to have the leaders take a look at that list, ask me any questions on it, see if it makes sense. And then, we'll do that before raid. But that's a big one, making sure that those 3 weak auras are installed and configured. Again, when you install those weak auras, they're going to be for every boss, right? So when we helped Critty with it earlier, he put it on and it was just a mess everywhere, right? So you do have to move some stuff around. It is a lot of stuff to sift through in week aura. So make sure you take this time, right after this meeting to get that sorted out, so you can clearly see where your where your stuff is if you get assigned a pop by week aura. The only other thing is, again, just the pace of raid is going up, so we're gonna get more pulls in. It's gonna be a little bit more of a serious environment. Obviously we don't want this to be like a second job, right? But the Mythic raid is now, especially after the third boss, it needs to be more serious than we have been in the past. I think realistically it can probably be a hybrid between what we've been doing and what last Thursday was. I think if we were to run how we did last Thursday, we would probably have to shorten the raid time, because I don't know if that's sustainable for 3 hours for our group. But we're gonna have a hybrid of that level of play and kind of what we have had in the past, right? So as of right now, the raid time, or the raid, is still same standard time, 8 to 11 Pacific, and then we'll if we're getting like 50 pulls in a night, we might take a look at that and adjust. But yeah, we do want to get as many pulls as possible. And so again, in order to do that, just making sure that we're wiping quickly, we're rezzing, we're rebuffing right away. Mage table, lock rocks, every pull, or mage table, not every pull really, but you know what I'm saying, right? Making sure we have soul stones up. That should just be we shouldn't have to ask for that, but that's just some stuff that we need to clean up in terms of speeding things up. Pots, flasks, all that type of stuff. You guys need to, we're working on getting the potion cauldron so that we can have that at the start. I don't think I don't have time to get to it today. But I'll probably have the flask one. But that being said, you should be prepared to use your own pots, your own flasks for raid. Tempered potions, I'd like to see tempered potions used with every pull. The rank 2 ones are 50 gold, but I mean, on a new boss like tonight, we can probably wait till we're a bit in, after we see the mechanics, learn it a little bit before we start sending them on every pull. But really just making sure that we get the mechanics down. If we're struggling a little bit in mechanics after probably like 10 or 15 pulls, if we're not like making visible progress, we'll probably do a dry run where we're not DPSing. We're literally just trying to stay alive and focus on where we're supposed to be and getting the mechanics down. But we'll make that call during the raid. But yeah, really just making sure that we kind of keep the same momentum that we had on Thursday, going into this new fight again, because the average pulls are so much higher for Sprocket and Styx. I think the average pulls for Rick was 17 to 40 for all the kills that were recorded, first time kills for Rick, and I think we were at 105. So I think, like I've said before, the potential, our gear, all that stuff is there. It's really just dialing in and taking the raid a little bit more serious. Forget who said it to me, but I think it might have been Nyletha who was reiterating, for the most part, the guild is really relaxed, really, show we have a lot of fun 99% of the time. But the Mythic raid needs to be a little bit more serious, so we can progress, right? And I know that sounds, like maybe things are changing a bit to some of you, but we're in a weird spot where we're 3 of 8 right now. We need to get to like 4 or 5, 6 of 8, before season ends, because that helps us recruit more people. Right now, we're at a point where our roster is we have 19. I think we're missing one, and I think we'll have a bench fill for it tonight. But if someone goes on vacation, right, then we're scrambling to find somebody, and we're having problems recruiting because I think we have that we're only at that 3 of 8 mark. So, uh, dialing in a bit for taking it a little bit more serious for a while, getting us the kills that we need to recruit more people will allow us to, if the environment is too much for some people, we can switch people out. We can do all that once we have the numbers to recruit people, right? So it's kind of like an investment in the guild, so we can make the progress that we need to get people in. That maybe the mythic rating isn't for everybody, but right now that's kind of where we're at. There's a lot of us that want to progress in it, and I think most of us, if not all of us, would like to progress in mythic here. So I think that's just what it's going to take, is just a little bit more seriousness to get the numbers that we need in terms of kills. So I don't know when the season ends or when the next one is. I think the next patch comes out in like a month or something like that. So we have a little bit of time to get that done. But
the patch comes. The 11.1.7 comes out in the middle of July. I think July 16, 17, something
On
like
this,
that.
I thought it was.
No,
It should be June 17th.
June 17th.
Okay.
Yes, sorry,
Yeah.
June 17th. So in just a few weeks, and then also, I would place late August to early September for the next season.
Yeah. So we have some time to get make the progress that we need. As far as where we are right now, from where we came last season, I think we're still in a good spot. We, last season we were scrambling even harder, pugging Mythic and getting people, people were breaking off to other guilds to get the experience and then coming back and trying to form the group. So we have we're making progress in that regard, right? So we're, again, all it boils down to is that we're doing our best here to, make the progress that we need in order to recruit, in order to, obviously accomplish the goal that we're all trying to do, which is progress in the hardest content in the game, right? So just a little bit more seriousness, a little bit more dialed in for this. Again, we do this 2 days a week. The rest of the time is, we're either, having fun in Mythics or we're doing random stuff like achievement runs, which I thought I would be there for, but I wasn't. So this is the time for Mythic rating is the time where we just kind of need to treat it a little bit, more intensely. And so that's really all I had. I just wanted to make sure that, that message was relayed across to everybody. Again, the prepping, doing all the stuff, the raid plans, the review. We post the stuff in the Discord of what strat we're going to be basing the fight off of. Not everything is going to be 100% conversion. We might not do everything exactly like in the video. We might make some changes on the fly, but those videos that we post in the Discord are what we're basing our raid strategy off of. So, watching those, looking at, you can get different points of view. Maybe, there's something that you see in a different video that might make more sense for us. We've had those suggestions before from people in the past. I would say that, if you have those suggestions before raid or, maybe during our break, you could bring those up. Probably just start it with me, and then I don't want everyone kind of chiming in and, getting confused on different strategies that we're doing. So we'll have the initial strategy and we can make changes like that. Kind of in a, to me, and then we'll talk about it and make those adjustments. I don't want people to think that, the seriousness or the changes that we're making is like, now it's going to be, we're going in with the strat that I'm proposing, and that's kind of the final say. That's not how it is. This is never how we've been. We're always open to, things that you guys have seen in videos or things that you guys may have seen somewhere else, it's just that we don't want to put it all in the raid chatter and voice comms, so people are getting confused and whatnot. But we still want the feedback. If you guys are seeing something as like healers or something, we're doing something and you're like, hey, this isn't working, maybe we try this, send me a message. I'll take a look at it. and then maybe we'll make that adjustment, right? I still want the feedback from you guys. It's ultimately still a collective effort that we're all just trying to get this done. So that being said, that I really don't have too much more on that. I just, I guess I'll if you guys have any questions or anything like that right now.
Yeah, I'll open the floor. Who has questions?
So in the words of the great philosopher Larry the Cable Guy, what you're saying is we just need to get her done.
Get it done.
Essentially, right? Like that's where we are. Like if there's a reason we're not killing bosses, it's purely our own doing, right? There's no gear holding anyone back. There's no anything like that at this point in the season with all of our eye levels. I think our collective eye level is like 677 or something like that. So we're like as a group, we're almost at the mythic level cap that before they raised the eye levels. So people were killing these bosses at like 660, 662. So we're well, geared for this, and it's just we're getting in our own way if we're not killing things. That did bring up another small point on how the raid lockout and whatnot we'll be doing. I'm not like I think I mentioned last week. I'm not going to lock the raid while we're progging up until we get to we kill Styx and Sprocket. So once we kill Styx and Sprocket, what we'll do is we will lock the raid and then go kill the rest of the bosses in Mythic so that we can progress on one arm. And the reason for that is like kind of how we saw when we were progging Styx or Rick, that if we don't kill something that week, then that doesn't lock everyone with getting nothing for a vault. If you guys did a 1 of or a 2 of whatever pug, it killed Vexy and Cauldron. But for the guild runs, we're gonna tonight we're gonna go right to Sprocket, and that's how it's gonna be until we get Styx down, and then we'll kill everything, and then we'll lock it, and then we'll just prog Bandit and then Muggsy and Galley. That's kind of the rate.
I assume if we do get Sprocket down, we'll at least double back to do Vexy quick just to get the vault slot.
If we do get Sprocket down, we can do that.
Okay.
That's fine. We can do that with both prog bosses, right? We can go if we get Sprocket down this week, we go do Styx next week, then we can get double down and get Vexy, and we can even try when we get Styx down, we can even try a 4. Maybe we get the rest of the 4 down, and then we go try and do Sprocket again. So that'll be kind of how we do it. Once we get Styx, we'll go try and clear as much of it as we can that week, and then we'll lock the raid.
All right.
Okay.
So question, because that's now been brought up to me. When we on Thursdays, like, are we progging till we get improvement and then going in and re-clearing what we've already cleared? Because a lot of people are going to still need items from these bosses. So, like, on Thursdays, is that your plan to, prog for as much as we can and then go back and re-clear?
My plan was not to kill the bosses that we've killed before until, like, really at all. And we can have this discussion right now. My thought process on this is that progress in getting through the new bosses is the name of where we're at right now. Again, I don't think people need anything from the bosses. I think that it's more of a you want this to get obviously your bis and whatnot. But again, gear wise, we are all geared enough to kill her mythic Gallywix. And again, this is just my thought. If people disagree with this, we can take this to a vote. That's more than fine. But my thought process is, if we're trying to kill bosses, I don't think we have Rick down enough to go sit here and say we're going to start with Rick tonight and then go to Sprocket. So,
Sure. That brings up like the concern of we do eventually have to re-clear these just to be able to get to OAB.
that is
And so
true.
it would really suck if we haven't touched some of these bosses in a month, and then we basically have to prog them all over again.
So
I'm in favor of holding the raid lockout in a lot of cases. I'm just saying I'd love more than one kill on most of the bosses.
Yeah. I think I agree with that.
I think that should be something that we do maybe on a pickup Sunday.
That's fine.
I'm fine with doing it on Thursday.
Okay.
But I
think
so
what you guys are doing is like basically straight prog. Basically until now, until the end of the season, I don't think there's a reason to re-clear for anybody. Like my guild has been extending for the last 2 months, and we're about to kill Muggsy. If you guys want a chance at killing like endgame bosses, the last 4, you're going to basically never see the first 4 bosses for the rest of the tier.
I mean, if that's
we do have to kill him one more time because the raid is fresh.
Oh, well, yeah, if the raid is fresh, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like after Styx is dead, there's basically no reason to ever do anything but extend.
Well, the point of the talking point here is that if we don't kill Styx for another month, let's say, I mean that's hopefully a very
I hope that's
hyperbole.
not the case.
It's hopefully a hyperbole, right? That means that we haven't seen Rick in a month. Do we have a problem where we go back and are progging it on essentially
or Carnage, which we've only killed once?
We've killed Cauldron like I think 3 or 4 times
on Mythic.
Yeah,
I think it's like 4 times now.
How do I not remember?
I've been there for at least 2 of them.
Yeah, I've killed it twice at least with you guys.
Okay, then I just don't remember anything.
But the Rick is really the one that's like was a problem for us. Cauldron was a problem before, but then we got the item level boost, and then it was like kind of not too big of a deal. But yeah, so I mean that's the. I think we'll play it by ear in terms of like
right.
I want to see where we measure progress against Sprocket and Styx. If we get Sprocket and Styx down in 2 weeks, then I don't think we have a problem.
Okay.
If it takes 4 weeks or longer, then we have to take it into consideration doing Rick again to not lose the memory of I guess the fight that we
the
had,
muscle memory of it. But I will tell you right now that it will be pretty hard for me to recruit if we're not re-clearing. So Ellie's guild is in a different state than us. Okay.
No, hold on. Why would it be hard for you to recruit if you're not
because we don't have as much as you guys do. You're in a totally different guild, Ellie.
I'm confused. Like, what's the actual reason?
The reason is people want to get gear.
What if they want to kill bosses if they're joining a Mythic guild this late in the season?
Well, I mean, but that's the point. The point is if we were truly going to try to recruit people that are close to getting kills, we'd be further ahead than we are.
Well, I mean, yeah, but also I think there's something to be said for the fact that it is pretty late in the season and that we don't really want to recruit people that aren't interested in killing the later bosses and like being dedicated to prog. It seems like because if we're trying to kill the later bosses and there's people that just are wanting to farm like the first 3, then we're not really going to match with them, right?
People at this point just want to see their end of season mythic boss number be higher, out of 8 than they want the gear.
Okay. Gotcha. So,
and to reiterate the point that Kolf was making, you guys could kill Galubix today. Like, your gear is not an issue.
Yeah.
But our skill is.
Right.
Gear is falling from trees this season, really, to be honest.
Well, and so like I said, I think what happens is we measure the progress that we make against Sprocket and Styx. If we kill both in 2 weeks, this isn't a point this isn't a talking point, right? Where we'll go in, we'll kill both of them, we'll kill the first 3, and then we're gonna lock it really through Bandit anyway. Like once those 5 are down, whatever that time frame is, we're locking
Well,
the raid.
I'm actually more in favor of doing our pickup day, which is Sunday, right? And using that to re-clear what we're leaving on the table.
I mean, I'm more than fine with that if we can get everybody to agree to show up for essentially a third raid day.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Right.
for those that want to farm those bosses, if you guys here have nothing you want out of those bosses or nothing you need, let's put it that way, out of those bosses, right? You don't have to go. But that makes it so that the raid ID, because again, we're talking about raid lockouts, right? That makes it so that the raid ID is puggable. I can fill those spots with pugs.
Yeah.
And again, we just roll, we go open roll, but we roll on everything that we can roll on.
I just think that we're getting too far into detail, getting ahead of ourselves here. I mean, let's try to just focus on Sprocket, trying to put him down. I mean, we still have Sprocket and Six to take care of before we have to start worrying about really trying to lock down the raid and trying to only get the progress through. I think Ellie's on the right track. Is that once you are able to get those 4 bosses down and then you're progressing into one-armed bandit, then you probably should just lock it out for weeks on end until you can continue on and move through the later, 3 bosses of the raid, which are going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not locking the raid at all until the 5 are dead.
Okay.
I'm just also, that being said, I'm also not going back and clearing. Like if we kill Sprocket, we can go kill Vexy to get the vault for that, but I'm not going to go say, let's kill Cauldron and Rick as well. I'm going to say obviously it depends on where we kill them.
Well,
right?
I can agree with that, but if we're able to, like you said, if we're, say, on Thursday, right, we do end up downing Sprocket, whatever day it is, then yeah, I mean, it makes sense to then just go and get that Vexy kill quickly.
Yeah, that's the plan, right?
Okay.
That way there is at least one Mythic raid slot for your Great Vault.
Yeah.
Okay. That's also the concern that a lot of folks had. So yeah. That works.
So that's the plan. Is we'll only do another boss in Mythic if we kill a prog boss for the next 2, right? So we kill the same thing. We kill Styx. We'll go kill Vexy, and then obviously Styx is a little bit different because that's the last boss we need. So we got to kill everything again anyway. So then we'll make that progress. So the plan will be Sprocket. When we kill him, we'll kill Vexy. We'll get that slot, and then we'll prog Styx until again the raid won't be locked. We'll prog Styx. Once we kill Styx, we'll lock the raid and we'll clear everything else. So depending on how long that takes, then we'll start getting into this a little bit more. But that's kind of the idea right now. If we have concern with that, we can, if we don't, and this week, if we don't kill Sprocket, we can talk about getting a group on Sunday and progging the first 2 or, whatever we want to do with that, because everyone won't be locked, right? So we could talk about that on who's available on Sundays and whatnot to get that going if we want to add another raid day for that.
Yeah. Anyone else have any issues? Any questions?
I'm actually pro this change.
It's more like something good in the text chat too, where once we do have that 1 kill, the cartel chips will be available to buy the item off that whichever bosses we've killed already.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I was able to get my Mythic Reverb radio today, which is pretty cool. So,
yeah. Again, if we do kill Galley, it's going to be later in the season where we're at that point where even more so now that gear is less of a factor. So I mean, personally, I don't think holding your cartel chips is a problem or necessary. If you want to hold them for a specific item that you're looking for from a later boss, sure, we do get another 1, I think, right? So I think we got our second one today, most of us. So there is, the chance for another one in 3 weeks. So you can save that last one and, see where we are in 3 weeks, obviously. But use them. My opinion is use them, right? You're basically going to use them or lose them.
Yeah. But you definitely want to, like I would imagine that, there's a couple of people that's why I said earlier, I think one of the things, I think Nye was asking, he was like, where do I use these chips? I think people should hold on to them until you kill some of these mythic bosses, right? And then I feel like, if you're going to get anything from the heroic level or hero level, would probably be Gallowix stuff, and that's it. And I would only use one 3-chip purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, right now, again, right, like it's a preference on where you want to use your things because the gear is there for everybody right now. Like,
well, a lot of your like best in slot trinkets and rings, for instance, are you're gonna get a huge benefit by getting the heroic version, but only a much smaller benefit by upgrading to the mythic version. So, for instance, like the Jaster Diamond heroic was so much better for me than anything else that even not having the mythic version, it still was way worth it to just get the heroic.
Exactly. I bought the heroic version because the only way I can get the mythic version is I can already do the only thing I need the mythic. I want the mythic version for killing Gallowix.
I was just about to say if some of the later bosses, and especially if you need things from Gallywix, if that's like that's what you want to achieve, and you're buying gear after it's already done, then it's like, what's the point in having it? I guess other than like re-clearing and doing Mythic Plus, like pushing Mythic Plus keys.
Yeah. So obviously, if you guys have questions on where to use the chips, we can help you with that. But really, gear wise, again, at this point in the season, it's kind of like a preference on what you guys want, right? So we could go, like Ellie said, we could go kill Gallywix today. But, so holding them, spending them, I don't think it's,
Okay.
I don't think. I think if you look on your upgrade finder thing, and if there's an upgrade that's like a 2% upgrade or something, and it's heroic, and then the mythic is only another 0.3% or whatever, then just get the heroic one, because the chances that you're gonna have time to use the mythic one by the time you unlock it, the season will be over by then anyways.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it might turn into a use it or lose it type of situation where just depending on where we are in 3 weeks for the last one, right? So
Okay.
So I think like heroic Jaster's Diamond and like a heroic Bis trinket is not a bad thing to like spend your chips on, honestly.
But yeah, so we can do, again for Sunday, if we don't kill anything and if we don't kill Sprocket this week, we can talk about getting Sunday, so that way we have a chance at some of the items off of Rick. We can go kill the first 2 and open up that slot in the vault for maybe some items off Rick that people might need still or want. So we could talk about that. After Thursday's raid, we could do a poll and see who's going to be there and whatnot.
So, question from I think Oprah, if you want to ask this about the character swaps, you're welcome to open that discussion.
I mean, is the question like, where do we stand on character swaps?
Pretty much.
I mean, for progging, obviously no, right? Progging is your main that you've been raiding with. Now, if your character is outputting the same and it fits into a team comp switch that we want to do, like say for sticks, we need more add damage and we need, like one of the healers can go boomkin. Like we might do that and someone can flex into a healer. But as for progging, right, it's your main character that you've been raiding with, unless, you have a talk with myself or one of the other officers in terms of like what your character swap outputs. But like realistically, we shouldn't be swapping because people want to swap, right? It needs to bring value to the raid. So
what I'm hearing is you need a boomkin.
I would like a boomkin.
I have a druid.
Yeah.
We want a boomkin for one fight, and then they can go resto.
Yeah.
And then we'll throw them away.
Yeah. So like that. I mean, I don't know how much more there is on the character swap thing. Like, if for example, on Sunday, if we're killing the first 2 bosses and your character swap is can get the job done, that if we can get the job done with it, like we can talk about that for killing the first 2. That's more than that's more welcome than I want to swap my character to a Tuesday Thursday raid while we're progging. Like, that's probably not gonna happen unless there's like an exception, like I mentioned. But for Sunday, I don't want Sunday to turn into an alt run. I want Sunday to still be getting in there, getting it done quickly. I don't want to spend 3 hours killing the two bosses that we've killed already. Like, Sunday's pickup raid will literally just be getting those first 2 bosses like within the first hour and calling it a day, right? So it's not like we're going to be carrying alts through Mythic at this point, right? I don't think we're there.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about gearing an alt. Just doing like an actual swap. Just for like these next bosses, like sticks especially. I mean, with how quick the ads and stuff go down, like my shaman would put out more AoE damage.
Let's take that one offline. I don't know if we're gonna like dive into this now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. So exactly, like if
we could put that in our back pocket.
Put a pin in that.
Exactly. So if that's something you want to talk about, we could definitely talk about that if it brings contribution to the raid, right? So just message, myself, Hawk, Mez, anyone, and we can have that discussion offline. Any other questions or anything?
Not here. I'm all good. I'm ready to go prepare for this raid.
All right. Great.
Let's do it.